Caddis Maximus here, this time with a review of the Pipemans Installation Solution, which is an interesting name for a product that is a power delay turn-on. It's sold as a refrigerator protector called the Protect-RF, and when power goes out, it prevents the device from turning back on and makes it wait 4 minutes to protect pumps. This is also a re-upload. I actually did a review and then deleted it because I had like a minute and a half of extra footage at the end of the video, and sorry to all the viewers who did review that previous review. It was only a few, wondering why this is a re-upload. So that, as I just described, this device is a protector with a big powerful relay in it. Maybe not that large, but particularly with refrigeration units such as freezers and obviously refrigerators, air conditioners, those types of things. When you have power interruptions, having the power like click on and off during a storm, or if you're in an area with unreliable power, it can be hard on these units, especially on all the compressors, because they try to start back up when there's already a pressurized system. There are resonant refrigerant compressors, but they're pretty rare, and I'll do a review of one at some point here. What's neat about these is that they are cheap, so they're not, the best build quality. The electronics could be a little bit heavier duty, and at the end of this video I'll do a quick look inside. But they are nice. They're rated for, as we can see, 15 amps, 4-minute delay, 1800 watts max, and this is, I wouldn't say it's heavy duty motor rated, but it's sold for refrigerators and freezers, etc., and rated for quite a bit of wattage. I would say that that's a resistance wattage, but not a motor wattage, because there is heavy-duty surges involved with starting motors. But we'll see inside they actually did intend this 15 amps to be realistic, because it uses 20 amp fuses and a 20 amp relay. This is useful for a variety of products. If you actually think about it, something that if you're having a storm or something, the power is just shutting on and off, that's really hard on all sorts of electronics, from nice audio equipment or any audio equipment, or electronics, whether it's test bench electronics or medical equipment, to your computers. They don't like the power to go on and off. And many more modern devices such as air conditioners and etc. computers won't automatically turn back on when they run into a situation, but this just works with anything, and I think it's actually relatively innovative. There are a couple neat little upgrades. So the screw for the grounding lug is actually a pressed-in brass insert, and we can see that the grounding lug is removable so that it works universally with whether it's 2-prong or 3-prong. And I thought that was an interesting feature, so I kind of like that. And we'll plug it in here. I should have left that ground lug back in. We'll be extra safe. The only issue I've ever had with these, I've probably had a couple, 3 of them. So it has first let me explain the LEDs. It has a power off, which only flashes red for a second. Then while it's during the delay, it'll be yellow, and then it moves to green when it passes power back through the relay. I just had some times where it will go into the safety cycle if the voltage is over 120, but I've only experienced that once, and I've told a few friends about these, so I've probably seen about, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them, and only one had that kind of issue. And we do have kind of high voltage around here. Otherwise, that's just the basics of this device, and it has an odd name for what it really does, and it's actually surprisingly useful. So I just wanted to do a quick review. I am going to spend another couple minutes at the end of this video just taking it apart, just so you can, people who are curious on what's inside a device like this can take a look. And I'll just unscrew it right now. Get those screws out of here. Number 1 Phillips, and then it's just a basic clamshell. Probably ABS plastic. They don't have any markings on the inside. And this is just what's on the top side. So since it actually has an electronic control, there is a potentiometer, I believe, to adjust the actual delay if you want it to be a little shorter or longer, which is pretty neat. There's our LEDs and just some basic stamped sheet metal. So this isn't super heavy duty, I wouldn't say. But they're charging $10 can be found for less than $10 a piece, so they're not charging a ton of money. And they do make more powerful ones. So the ground lug on the inside for the pass-through is actually screwed into that brass insert, so that's how it gains conductivity. And if we pop this out, this is our little board. We have a bunch of electronics on the backside to handle the timer and detecting the power outage and all that kind of stuff. They do put some extra solder to handle its rated load, 1800 watts. But it didn't quite make it all the way around on this pad. I don't know if they decided it was wide enough. And on this section here, which is between the hot wire, that's where the fuse is, they may have decided that the fuse will melt down before the contacts there do. But if you're like an electronics type person, then you could always add some extra solder just to make it a little heavier duty. We can see that they use a small type automotive blade fuse. This is a type of fuse that like a basic 15-watt soldering iron or 20 watt might have some issues actually getting melted, because those are some pretty big pieces of metal. And when I did a soldering iron review, I talked about 30 watt. That's probably something you would want to properly solder and desolder that. But it is nice to see that it's rated at 15 amps, but it has a 20 amp fuse. And we can see this relay is also rated for 20 amps, which is it's rated for 15 amps, so that's 33% over 15 amps. So relatively reasonable. Anyway, I'm going to get this back together, and I just wanted to re-upload this review to fix the airspace. I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.